Hi, it's Brad from Trans Audio, and I'm here with Subwoofer Pros today, and we have a new product to talk about called the Studio Sub2. This is the 12-inch model. There's a whole series now of these products in a 10-inch size, a 12-inch size, and an 18-inch size. This is the 12 we're looking at here, and the idea is how can you get a sub really small and still have good low-frequency response? And how can you add low end to a pair of small monitors without messing up everything, without making it overly complicated? A lot of the subs that you buy have very complicated controls on the back, and they're a little bit confusing to set up. You got high pass and low pass filters you have to tune, and you might not know what those frequencies would be for your speakers, so it gets really super confusing. So what we try to do is provide a simpler solution that provides low end support for smaller monitors without making it so hard that a guy can't operate it. This is very easy to operate, and you can see in the back panel here it's got a very simple set of controls, so it's really hard to screw it up. The whole plan on this particular sub is to specialize all of the studio subs, all of the Subwoofer Pro subs, is to specialize in audio below 100. We don't worry about anything above 100. We don't try to figure out how to cross it over higher. We don't worry about LFE, because LFE is usually fed from a device that says LFE on it and already has a frequency inside of it. So we don't need to worry about really much of anything other than trying to tune it to match our small monitors that we have on our meter bridge or on stands. So the frequencies available on this are 95 hertz, 80, 60, and 40. And that'll handle a wide range of monitors from small to large, enable you to get low end support. The goal of a sub from our perspective is not to make it so you can actually hear it and have tons of low end and have that real super heavy bass playback. The goal of a sub in our vision for what we're doing here is to try to develop a sub that can provide low-end support that will suffice for mixing, mastering, those kinds of even tracking. If we're trying to figure out how to cover low-end support without adding additional low-end to the mix or making it too bassy so then you mix bass light, it's really trying to support smaller speakers, 6-inch two-ways, 5-inch two-ways, speakers that are small, and especially speakers that are very high resolution. Amphion comes to mind, for example. That speaker sounds really good with the 12 here. It works really, really well. And so the whole idea is, how do we get linear response from the roll-off of the little meter bridge pair of monitors all the way down to some low level? This particular sub will go down to 16 hertz, which is well below most program materials. So it sounds very good and very low distortion within that range. So, if you had a really little pair, you'd set it to 95. If you have a slightly bigger pair, 80. If you had a larger pair, it might be 60. If you had a really big pair and you just needed low-end support, you're probably buying multiples of this, and you're setting it to 40 hertz. So that's kind of the idea. This has a really limited set of controls, so it's very difficult for a second engineer who doesn't know the sub to screw it up. You have the 4 frequencies. You have a polarity switch. A lot of people put phase controls on subs, but of course phase controls have a tendency to work up at 100 hertz but not work right down at low frequency. So we just put a polarity so you can invert the polarity of the sub to see which one works better with your monitors. And then there's 2 XLR inputs that are left and right, but that's some when you plug them both together. And then there's a gain control, and that's it. That's all the controls you have to worry about. Gain control is obvious. It's the one you set to balance the level between the sub and the mains. And the most important thing with subs to make sure you get it right is that they are location specific, meaning you can put a sub in a room, sit at your mixer, and not hear it at all. You could be sitting in a null. In fact, in small rooms, you frequently are sitting right in a null. I remember an experience happened to me years ago where I was demoing a sub, and I put it in the room, and you sat down in mixed position, and it was not there. I walked against the back wall of the control room, and it was, 30 dB louder than the mains. It was crazy. So subs can behave unusually in small spaces, and that's most often where we find ourselves trying to use them. So it's super important that you play around with positioning of a sub in a room. We normally recommend 2 rather than 1, because 1 is hard to place. meaning people's instinct is to put one dead center between two speakers in the center of the room, which is exactly the wrong place to put it. So what we recommend is that you move the sub around and try to find a better place. This sub will provide really high quality playback below 100 hertz for a whole bunch of different kinds of monitors that you might be using, and is really designed to be a universal kind of device so that it doesn't matter what the mains are. So this product is out now and is available. The Studio Sub2 12C is $2290 MAP. The 18, just for reference, is $2690. It's $400 more. The main advantage of that is it plays louder than this one does. And then we have a Studio Sub2 10, which is even smaller, and that's $1750. That doesn't play quite as loud as this one by a fairly significant amount, but is really perfect for those tiny little rooms where you might even be putting the subs on stands right below the mains. So it's a really small sub, and it's really our vision for it was in situations where you want to use multiples, 2, 3, 4. It's not crazy to think about putting 4 subs in a room on each of the 4 walls and then making sure they're off center, and you can get pretty even bass response in a small room by doing that. So Subwoofer Pros Studio Sub2 12. This is it, and it's available now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll look forward to talking to you again.